Okay. Wow, look at all that stuff. All right, so here we go. Tonight, we have lecture notes and so on. So if you, as I mentioned, this will be recorded so you can go ahead and take a look at that information for both interior elevations and the lecture and the assignments here. The RCP instructions, I've written them out. It's not a bad idea to take a look at them and have them available. I wanted to kind of point out what the reflected ceiling plan is, that you're going to be using the same layout as you did with the floor plan. Now, if you'll remember, the floor plan had a more portrait orientation. So as you look at this drawing or this format illustration, it's a little off. I want to apologize. I didn't get it updated in time. But this information, you want to pretty much exactly match how you did the floor plans. So it'll be more vertically oriented because the plan has a larger size in that dimension, and we don't want to be outside the boundaries of that. In terms of the same thing, well, we're going to go over here to the reflected ceiling plans or interior elevation. There's the information there. You can go through it, and we can, you'll see it probably better described in the video. Let's see, where's my, okay. So let's go to the actual examples here. Here is the reflected ceiling plan. It's a good idea to probably take a look at this and print it out so you can see what it looks like. One of the things that you'll observe is that it looks very, very similar to the information that was on the floor plan, including the poche and all that. But if you'll remember, this part of the plan was really the hallway going to the door. So a couple things you'll notice: there are no, we locate the window openings, but we're not necessarily showing the windows. And the reason is that we cut this, this floor plan section up at the ceiling line. And if you look around your house and you look around the room, you'll notice in almost all cases, your doors and windows have a head height. And if you recall from the elevations and the section drawings, those heights are at 6'8". And many of you have ceiling heights that are 8 foot, 9 foot and above. So that means when we cut that wall section, that we're actually cutting through the wall. Now you may ask, well, gee, John, why aren't we showing that pochade solid? Well, what happens is there's a relatable part of these drawings that have to do with doors and windows. In case in point, if you're putting a ceiling box, or I'm sorry, a valance box for draperies over windows, that the best way to place those is on a reflected ceiling plan. And knowing where the window exactly is kind of helpful. In a similar way, if you have doors that need exit signs, like in a commercial building, then we'll want to place the exit sign over the doorway. Again, placement counts. So these are some reasons why you see those look like openings, but they're not. They're just an indicator that there's a door or window there, and that, you know, the person looking at it or the contractor who's building it needs to be advised of that so that they can make due reference to the design in there. Now, the other thing that you'll notice is that we have a note here, open to above. And that is simply saying that all of this work here is all under one ceiling. And when we do technical drawings, we would identify that area that I just showed as being a ceiling height of, say, 8 foot or 9 foot, and we'd mark that dimension on there. We're not going to do that on these schematic designs, so they're not necessarily important to do that. But what I did want to point out is that perhaps the most prominent aspect of this is that we can see the lighting and how it works and how they're spaced. And one of the things that I've discerned over many years is that um, people who use buildings have a rather critical eye, and they'll look up and observe ceilings in a more critical way. They're going to want to see order and arrangement that makes sense. And so as a result, when we lay these out, we're going to want them to be thoughtfully placed out so that they serve the function, but also aesthetically placed out so that they're not just haphazardly placed. There you'll see that, you know, in the kitchen we have a field of downlights. These are all 6-inch downlights, and a task light over the sink. And in the stairways, we're going to have lighting at the bottom of the stair on the landing, and then as you'll see on the up above, there's a light fixture placed for the upper landing as well. And then in the washroom, we have some general lighting and some lighting that's placed for what we'll call some vanity lighting. But anyway, as a result, I wanted you to take a look at that, examine the drawing. Now, what you'll see is there's nothing really represented in this part of the drawing. That's because we want them to focus on the lower level, the first level reflected ceiling plan. So as we go to the second floor, we can start to see what's provided there.
Let me get you some food, okay?
Okay, so now as we're looking at this, we're seeing some kind of funny lines on this thing. Well, first we want to acknowledge that our mezzanine line, which is that kind of sleeping area of this small residence, is represented. And we can see that the stairway comes up and then extends all the way to the upper landing. In addition to that, the beams that you drew in your cross section are represented, as well as the cross trusses that are provided. And there's even some applied timbering applied at each end. There's a wall, there's kind of a long swag fixture that is mounted at the ceiling and extends all the way down to a dining area down below. So, and then we can see here that we have a slope that is extending downward from the center. So these are the elements that you may want to pay attention to, and that's really what they're representing in this plan. Now, one of the things I also wanted to point out is that we've lost, by the time we get up to this upper elevation, we're starting to lose a lot more detail of what's going on down below. And additionally, what we're going to see is that this part of the porch, which was previously a ceiling, is now a roof. We're looking down upon it because we're higher up. We're at the second level reflected ceiling plan. And because we're up above it, we're seeing the roof of it from the top, not the underside of the reflected ceiling plan, which is what we saw in the previous drawing. Likewise, the detail in the solarium starts to get a little bit more general and not so specific. Here we'll see the chimney coming up and the mantle down below, and that will go all the way up through the roof. And then that same topic about showing the extent of things, we will identify that it is open to below, and by drawing this line from corner to corner, we can extend what is really the volume of the space.
You don't want me to bring you anything?
Okay, so as we continue then, I'm going to show you what these blockouts kind of look like. Okay, so there's the videos. I have to tell you that this is my first run at recording a video, so I probably make some mistakes here, but I'm hoping that you'll find it interesting. I think I'm looking at, okay, so this is for interior elevations. Wait, let me go back. I think we have a mislabel problem. I got to double check. Let's see. This is reflected ceiling plan. Oh, wrong one, sorry. Let's go back, get back down here. All right, so this was RCP, RCP2. Okay, so I think we may have some relabeling. We just put this in this afternoon. And, oh, that's the assignment submittal block. Okay, so that's that. So I think that we should have all the information I think you need in this. Please do check out the work and tell me if there's any complications. I'll try to fix it